As we travel on our journey, we have many choices. We can go here, we can go there, and so it goes. Life choices. Then we come to a T in the road. Right, left, which direction do we go when we hit the junction? The T in the road. Go there or here? So we remove the T and we're here. Here, fully present. We've arrived here. We're in our own state of being fully here, our own jurisdiction, with all our presence, our essence, and all in the fullness of our Creator's name and that of our spirit, heard and acted upon. And so it is.
It is what it is. Thank you, Charlie.
My pleasure.
Hi, my name's Ron. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm on here to record with William. Charlie just did our prayer. Charlie's the boss of the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, and William is our, communications director. How's that?
Or technology. So yeah, I'm William Appel. I'm in the Portland, Oregon area with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, and I deal with the technical issues like doing the TV show and cable or the YouTube, Facebook, and stuff like that. And of course, step into any other position that's necessary at the moment.
Thank you, William. Thank you, Charlie. What I'd like to talk to you about is needs must. I understand that. And everybody has to earn a living. And I understand that also. And I also understand that there's a lot of people in this movement that we're in, call it the Patriot Movement or the awoken to what's really going on movement, or any other name you wish to provide it with. That's the position that we're in. We're trying to return Oregon to a constitutional Republican form of government, and we can't do it by ourselves. We have to have at least a quorum of the 33 states that were states when Sine Die came in March of 1861. To make it right, you have to undo the fraud. Fraud vitiates all. It's not just clean up the things that you think ought to be cleaned up and leave the things you think are good. It's clean it all up. You got to go back, roll it back little by little, all the way back till there's no more fraud, if we can ever get there. But on Oregon, we know the Oregon fraud started November 8th, 1910, when Frank Benson, the governor and secretary of state, and his people or persons cooked up Article 7 amended and got it into the Oregon Constitution without one vote being counted. A guy named Milt Mitchek went around to every county and checked with the elections clerk and, hi, how many votes were counted November 8th for Article 7 amended? And the answer was none. None votes counted, but they put it into the Oregon Constitution. Now, how in the hell do you do that? Well, it's about the same as Lincoln did. Lincoln wanted a Congress, and he couldn't have one because so many states left the Union that there wasn't a quorum, so they closed Congress. And he made him open up Congress to give him a Congress so that he could have color of law, so that it could look like he was doing something right. And a lot of people think Lincoln was really great. And I'm not so sure about that. I'm really in a quandary over Lincoln. There's people that say Lincoln was a bar attorney, but I researched it and I can't prove that. But he did wrong when he did what he did in March of 1861. And we have not had federally from the United States, and the United States is located in Washington, D.C., period. They have enclaves all around the country that are supposedly United States soil. But when you check into it, you find out it's bogus. There's an exact way you have to do this to change state land to federal land, and that's you get the legislator to agree that they will sell you the land or give it to you, and then you have to follow through and do all the paperwork correctly. They don't do that on Oregon. We've already proved that. I don't know about the other states, but when you look at this position that we're in, and you look on the internet all around, and you find all of these men and women that have sites and YouTube channels and Bitcoin and every other place, and they're all working allegedly for our benefit. But what it really turns out to be, I think, is they're in business for themselves. They're in business to sell their service to other people such as ourselves, patriots or people that wish to be free. And they sell them all of this knowledge that they have accumulated, and they've accumulated a bunch. And these guys are all over. And I could name their names, but it won't do much good. What you have to do is do what you think is best. And if you don't know, you have to learn. And if you think learning is paying somebody else to teach you what you need to learn, I think you're wrong. I think you have to do the work yourself. You have to uncover the information. You have to find people that will share with you freely what they know. And you have to go to these pay-per-view sites and get all the free service you can from them, because we're not in the business of making people money off of our misery. That's not the deal. The deal is return your state to a constitutional Republican form of government, and you do it with yourself and those of like mind with you. It only takes 5 or 6 people to start and do the whole thing. You don't have to go through a big training program every Wednesday or every Thursday or Monday at 9 o'clock. You don't need to do that. When you have the time, study. Everything that we do on Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly is absolutely for free. We have the most ridiculous operation plan because it's not a business plan. We're not in business. This is a function that we're into, an operation that we're into. This is a challenge. This is a quest. And it's to return Oregon to a constitutional Republican form of government. And everybody in the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly pays no dues. We don't sell anything. We're not looking for people to give us money. We're not begging for donations. When we need money, William says, I need enough money to go buy this speaker and microphone system. Okay. I think it took him 10 minutes to get the money. We needed tents, and we had tents. And everything that we need, somebody steps up. And all of a sudden, there it is. And we don't need to go out into the community or out into other states and all over to gather up our money or to seek donations. We could do it. Hell, I had a lady tuck $20 in my pocket in Salem. I took it and gave it to Tanya. She's the secretary treasurer. She handles the money. She knows what we need. We don't need to sell anything. We need people to buy what we're doing with their sweat. You got to do it yourself, and you can't do it alone. Is that an oxymoron? No. Is that a conundrum? No. That's something else, something that is true but apparently can't be, or something that can't be true but apparently is. You have to do it yourself, and you can't do it by yourself. It takes a whole bunch of people to do the job. And what we need is to return the states to a constitutional Republican form of government. And all that takes is read the Declaration of Independence, read the Articles of Confederation and Perpetual Union, and read the United States of America's Constitution, and read your state's Constitution. After you've done that, if you don't understand, read it again, and then talk to people that you know. You don't need to ask somebody else's, what does this mean? You got to sort it out yourself. And if you can't, you got to get people to help you. But you've got to buy into it and understand it and own it, or you can't be it. And that's part of the deal. So when we take a look at what we're doing, and we do every day, some of us, this is all we do, like me, 24/7 doing this stuff. But there's no way out. There's just no way out. The only way we can return ourselves to freedom and liberty is if we do it ourselves. And you can't go to school to do it. Years
May
ago,
I say something?
sure, jump in.
Go ahead with your years ago, and then I'll ask the question.
No, go ahead.
Well, one of the things that comes up so often when we're doing writing about the assembly or we're discussing it with others is the Republican part, because I think that it's really important for people to recognize our roots and what that word Republican means in the context of where we are now with this device between the big divide between Republicans and Democrats. So I think it would be really helpful to discuss that, because it can be off-putting if people are a Democrat but they're not happy with what's going on and they don't want to be a Republican. I think it's important to address that.
Okay. Democracy is mob rule. Democracy means that the majority rules. And that's not what a republic is. And a Republican form of government, the individual rules. There is no one more sovereign than you. If you are an Oregonian, a non-US citizen, or a Washingtonian, or a Montanan, or a Texan, whoever the hell you are from whatever state that you're on, if that's who you are and you are a free man or woman, you can't get any better. That's it. You can't go any further. There's nobody to tell you anything. You're it. You're the ultimate sovereign being on the land. All you have to do is do the right thing. Do what's reasonable and proper. And Republican and Democrat are names that have been hijacked by two political parties that we should never have had, but we do have, and we have to get rid of them. As William says, the Republicans are the right wing and the Democrats are the left wing of the same damn bird, with one head directing both of them. A Republican form of government means a form of government that is not a democracy, a form of government that is freedom, where the sovereign are the people. Here's the deal. If you get a chance, look up a woman named Jen West, Jenn West, West. She's out of Texas. I spoke rudely to her several years ago. I do that occasionally. And she's shunned me ever since. And that was a big error on my part. I should have been able to deal with the situation better, and I didn't. And I'd like to apologize to Jen West. If you see this, sailor, shit, I get all choked up. I'm supposed to be a tough guy. Anyhow, if you see this, Jen, I apologize. Anyhow, if you go to her channel, she is brilliant. And she explained it the other day. And I'll shortstop it a little bit. The sovereign men and women on the land of their state made their state. They did the work to make their state, and they put it in the form of a constitution, and they made their state sovereign. And those several states gathered together and made a document, and the document's name is the United States of America's '(S) Constitution. And there's only one constitution. They made it to be changed and corrected and amended. That's how they designed it. So when they have a constitution that started in, 1789, something like that, every time they added a state or every time they added an amendment such as a Bill of Rights or the 11th or 12th or 13th, every time they added an amendment, the prior iteration of that Constitution became a nullity. It became an artifact to put into a glass case somewhere because it has no more validity. It has been changed and corrected and modified by adding a state or an amendment. So the previous iteration is not the Constitution. It is a nullity. It's void. So the one that's in place is the Constitution, and there is only one, and they won't show it. They won't let us see it. They won't show it to us. You can ask Jane at the National Archives or Mutahara at the Library of Congress, and they won't show it. You do not get to see the real document because that would expose the fraud.
Ron,
Yeah.
this is why they want to create a new state to add into the United States to change our full constitution once again, correct?
Are you talking about making D.C. a state?
Yes, I am.
There's no way they can possibly do that within the framework of the Constitution of the United States of America. No way. But
1861.
say what?
That's 1861, correct?
That's right. You got to roll back the fraud before we can get there. Okay, here's something I wanted to tell you about. Years ago, when I woke up finally, I was 75 years old before I woke up. Jeez. Any case, I wake up and I start looking, and it gets to be really interesting because everything I knew was a lie. Everything. And the worse it got, the worse it was terrible. Anyhow, I found a group called National Liberty Alliance, and they said they were going to put a grand jury on every county, all 3,000 plus of them. And they were well down the road. I mean, I got to the party late. They were organized. Ray was running Washington County, and Laura was running Oregon, and Richard was in the mix, and Roger was in it, and Cam Bees, and it was rolling. And I thought, hot damn. And then the guy running it the guy running National Liberty Alliance, John Darash, and that's a an, that's a fake name. Everybody should use their own name. Everybody in our group uses their own name. We stand and deliver in our own name. Anyhow, National Liberty Alliance all of a sudden decided that they weren't going to put a grand jury on every county. They were going to teach the people how to put a grand jury on every county. They changed the game. They changed it to teach. Well, it's not about teach. You already know more than you need to know.
What year was that?
2015.
So how far do you think they've gotten with that?
Zero. They have one grand jury. Listen to this. They have one grand jury in New York. And that grand jury only files documents into the de facto court in New York. Now, we all know, and if you don't know, pay attention. There's de facto and there's de jure. And we are de jure. We are the real people, flesh and blood, body, mind, spirit. That's who we are. They, the de facto, are the all cap version of their name. They're persons. They are in a law form that says, he who can be deceived, let him. Now, what the hell kind of law form is that? That's not law. That's trickery and deceit. If you're smarter than the next guy and you can trick him and deceive him, it's okay. No, it's not. That's the wrong law form. And that's what the bar people do. Recently, we had a guy on here called, Seething Frog, Glenn Curtis, or Greg Curtis, and a former bar attorney. And you call him a bar attorney and he's pissed. I called him a bar attorney years ago on his site and he banned me from his site and blocked me. It took years to get back into his good graces enough that he'd even talk to me. I had to do it through Jeff Bowen. It got me back into Greg Curtis's The Seething Frogs goodwill again. So what we're trying to do is not educate the people. You can do on-the-job training if you can read and write and comprehend at 7th, 8th grade level, maybe more since they've ruined the education system. But anyhow, if you're somewhere in that ballpark, you already know more than you need to know. You just don't know the specifics of a certain thing. And we have those specifics. And you can take 5 or 6 people. That's all it takes. 5 or 6 people and form your own Jural assembly on your state. And we'll help you. What it took us 2.5 years. Next month is 3 years. June, 3 years. Last June, we formed our civilian court of record. A whole year's gone by. Boy, it goes by fast. Anyhow, in 21 days, you can take your state to the same place we are on Oregon. You can have your Jural assembly. You can have your civilian court of record. You can implement ex parte Milligan. You can nullify martial law and the Lieber Code. You can form a grand jury. You can make presentments to the de facto prosecutors and remove from their table prosecutorial discretion. A presentment removes that. You can go read Williams versus the United States, the majority opinion from Antonin Scalia. You can do all of those things, but before you can do any of them, you got to get 5 or 6 people together and do the paperwork. Do the work. Understand. Form your Jural assembly, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get everything else done. They will acquiesce to it. Give them 7 days, 14 days, and 21 days on the same piece of paper. And they acquiesce 3 times in default, and you are what you say you were. And they do it by default. Anybody got anything they want?
Looks like we're at the end of the show if we want to end it here.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so then we want to thank everybody for watching. Go to our YouTube channel and watch our other videos. Like, subscribe. You can go to our YouTube or our regular website, orssja.org, and then go on to Facebook and whatnot for our other stuff there. You'll probably see us someplace on Independence Day. We're going to be out there somewhere. Not exactly sure at this point. Anybody has an idea? Second Amendment groups. What other kind of groups, Ron?
Well, they got that bunch out in the gorge I'd like to talk to.
Yep. That would be a good one for us to go to. So we need to line up something. So we're going to be out there. Hopefully we get to like 2 places that day, or 3 if we can. Split our groups up a little bit and be a little bit further out and gather some more people so we can start setting up the counties. We're set up for the state right now, but we need to go to all 36 counties. So
Yes.
If you're out there somewhere and you want to join us and you're in a county, even if you're in a county that we've already in, come join us there because we got a big job to do. It's fun.
We have a lot of fun doing it. Thank you,
All right,
William.
thank you.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up.
And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.